Faculty Development Program. Today's topic is gamification in teaching and trends in usage of technology in education. I acknowledge the presence of Ms. Asta Dhingra, Assistant Professor, SGT University, Gurugram. Ms. Asta Dhingra is an Assistant Professor at SGT University in Gurugram and a clinical psychologist. She was a former psychologist on the Juvenile Justice Board of Gurugram's panel. For the past 10 years, she has worked as a trainer for a variety of educational and business institutions across India. She has written and edited 2 books, contributed to over 30 peer reviewed publications in prestigious national and international magazines such as Focus. She has been a guest speaker on psychology, career advice, and mental health for NDTV, Prime, Disha TV, Aaj Tak, Times Now, and India Today. In her capacity as a graphologist, she has analyzed the personalities of over 5,000 people based just on their handwriting and signatures. She has spent the last decade traveling across India, working as a trainer for a wide range of academic and corporate organizations. Today, as a guest expert speakers on topics like psychology, career guidance, and mental health, she gives constructive input and communicates well to help students realize life's purpose in lifestyle, family, and work. Several Indian organizations, including the district government in Gurgaon, have acknowledged her efforts. The Deputy Commissioner of Gurugram nominated her for the position of clinical psychologist on the Gurugram Juvenile Justice Board due to her excellent work and workshops with the student and Ryan School, Swansea. I welcome Ms. Asa Dingra to speak on gamification in teaching and trends in usage of technology in education.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure rather for me to be on this platform and to share my I won't say an expertise, but to share my knowledge on such a beautiful and interesting topic, which was somewhere even challenging for me. Okay. Because from your team, the challenge given to me was, ma'am, is presentation ko presentation mat lagne dena, because this is an interesting topic. So we want that, the inputs from you also should be something in a form of a game. So we are going to play a lot in the next 1.5 hour. And I really hope कि मैं आपको समझा सकूं इस topic के बारे में. So thank you so much for inviting me, and it's an honor to be here on this platform. Being an alumni of Amity itself, it's a pleasure to contribute back to my own organization. So thank you so much. With this, may I request the participants to switch on their video, because game खेलने का मजा तब आएगा जब आपको मैं दिखूंगी और मेरे को आप दिखोगे. अगर आप सबके लिए ये possible है, if at all it is possible for you to switch on your videos, I would request everyone to please switch on your videos. I hope you can see the presentation, all of you. At least be active on the chats and let's communicate, because this topic is all about communication. There is no presentation. Even the next slide is something that we have to discuss. And it winds up in next 5-6 slides. So,
Asta, this is Dr. Sunita here. Have you
Yes,
started
ma'am.
the session?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Just begin with the introduction.
Okay, that's fine. Ashna, have you given the brief about the resource person?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and kindly ask Simpy to let me switch on my camera. Ask the IT person. And Asta, I request you to wait for another 5-10 minutes. Let the participants join.
Sure,
Okay, I
ma'am.
can see 25 participants right now. Okay. So
Okay, ma'am.
we'll just wait for another 5 minutes. Thank you so much.
Sure, no worries. No worries.
Today, our both resource persons, Ms. Deepti and yourself, have joined well in time. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, ma'am.
Yeah. So yes, Simpy, have you done the needful? Okay. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Sunita ma'am. You can check your camera. It's working now.
Yeah, Simply, but can you see me?
Yes, ma'am, I can see you.
Okay, done. And please ask the participants to join at the earliest possible. Ask the registration people.
Sure, ma'am, sure.
And all the PhD scholars who are joined, please ask your batchmates to join as early as possible. We have already got the resource person available well in time with us. Simply just ask the IT person, Arvind. Arvind is there, no? Just ask him to switch on, let Ms. Deepthi switch on her camera and even use the mic.
Ma'am, Deepthi ma'am can use her camera at any time, ma'am. She is a co-host.
Okay, she had been telling that she is not able to unmute or turn on the camera.
But okay, ma'am, let me check once again.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, Deepthi, we can hear you now.
Hi, Sunita. Hi, everyone. I think there is some voice lag. I still can't turn on my video. The host is blocking it.
Yeah. I'll just tell the concerned person. Don't worry, we'll get it done. Okay. And thank you so much for joining us in time.
Hi, everyone. Hi,
Yeah.
Sunita.
Yes, I am able to see you.
I was earlier trying to reply to you when you thanked me, and again, I was muted on its
No,
own. So that's
no
why.
problem.
Sorry.
Thank you so much. No issues. No issues. So first session is of Asta's session, Deepthi. We are having first session from Asta's side that is related to gamification. And then after that, we'll have your session. But it's wonderful to have you right from the beginning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank you so
doing
much.
some multitasking here, but
Yeah.
I'm very excited to join us this
Yeah.
session.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Asta, we have got now 35 people joined with us. I think we can start off with the session, please.
Am I audible and visible?
Yeah, now you're audible and visible also. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sunita ma'am. So yes, just one more request if you can make on my behalf, if the audience can also switch on their videos, because a lot of things have been planned and seeing their responses on their faces seems to be very good. If that can be possible, otherwise.
Yeah, that can be possible. It is all with the IT team. So I think for her session, because I had specially requested Ms. Asta to make it as much as interactive as possible. So simply kindly request the concerned IT person to let them switch on their cameras and unmute themselves. But
Sure,
kindly
ma'am.
Even if unmute is not possible, it's okay. At least the switch on of the video is better because I can see the waving of hands and everything.
Okay, ma'am. We can try. Okay, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
And all the participants are requested. This is going to be a very, very practical and interactive session. You are requested to, if you are allowed to switch on the cameras, kindly, you all please switch on your cameras, and in the chat box, keep interacting with Ms. Asta.
So shall I start or shall I wait for some more time?
No, no, Asta, you just start. We are getting
Okay.
the cameras switched on for the
Done,
participants.
done, done. Not a problem. Till then, at least the basics and the theories are a part I can cover.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so a very, very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome back. And the topic that I've been given is quite interesting and quite challenging, which is how can you actually teach while making a game out of that topic? And I have tried my best to prepare the game on the basis of particularly nursing ko dhyan mein rakhte hue. So let's see how it comes out to be. And I would request all of you to be participative. Only then it could be fruitful to all of you. So yes, understanding gamification. Just wanting to know from all of you, if you can use your chats and answer, what according to you is gamification? Has anyone ever experienced any sort of game when it comes to your teaching, your area, your topic?
I'm not in audience, but can I answer?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Thanks, Asta. I think gamification is simply to convert your learning into a game. For example, a surgeon trainee, 2 surgeon trainees, instead of playing a basketball outside their curriculum, they can have an Xbox game where they are doing laparoscopic cholecystectomy using their mouse.
Definitely.
And it's just a game.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Excellent. Exactly the same.
We have
So,
some answers in the chat box also, Asta. You can have a look on that.
Yes.
Let me help you with it because you're taking the session. Yeah, so
Playway
this
method of
essentially-
teaching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
playway method of teaching is there. Then to make something into a game, maybe a topic. So like that,
Yes,
people have answered.
definitely, definitely. So wonderful. So you have a glimpse of what it appears to be like. So see, at times what happens, we know a lot of things, but it gets very difficult when it comes to completion of your curriculum and then a lot of other things. And then say, for example, now when I was preparing this presentation, पहले मैंने बहुत ही boring सी presentation बनाई थी. फिर मेरे को लगा नहीं, Mario is a better version to prepare a presentation. It should look like that the things are gamified. Right? So yes, when you convert your content, your educational content into a game to make it more interesting, to make it more retentive in your brain, that is what we call gamification. इसके बहुत सारे तरीके होते हैं, not only in terms of converting it into a game. How many of you have heard about the simulation stuff? What is simulation? Not stimulation, but simulation, simulation. Has anyone ever heard what is simulation? Yes, Senthil has written yes. So there is a concept called simulation. We at SGT have a simulation lab. So what we generally do, we use this in a form of a game. Simulation is basically when you role play in front of dummies, and the dummies are commanded to respond in a manner of a patient, right? So we have dummies here in our university in the lab setup, wherein, we train through dummies how to deliver a baby, how to bandage a wound, how to take a case history. And that becomes interesting because not every time you have a patient to operate or to conduct such experiments on. And hence simulation comes into picture, wherein we provide a situation to the subject, to the client, or to the student, and thereby the student takes it further and demonstrate it on the dummy. Okay, so the life is also saved. किसी पे गलत stitch नहीं लगा, किसी की गलत bandage नहीं हुई. And these dummies outperform. So they will shout on a wrong needle being placed, on a wrongly being injected. So ये dummies को हम पूरा command देते हैं, उसको पूरा program करते हैं. That is another way wherein, you know, the gamification come into picture. And this is very exciting and very beautiful. So learning about how this gamification happens and game mechanics क्या होते हैं. जब भी हम किसी भी game को, you know, when we design that game for the students as a faculty, you can use various elements, like, you know, you can use the point system, the level system. इस level तक आप reach out कर पाए तो, you know, this XYZ is going to be the reward. Then there are leaderboards through which, you know, you can, as an element, you can use while you are considering to prepare a game from a content. Now, why? What happens? You know, what are the main benefits? So many major 3 benefits liye hain, because I never wanted to keep this presentation more theoretical. So basically, when you focus on gamification, it increases student engagement. आप देखेंगे जब भी आप किसी भी तरह की कोई गेम खेलते हैं, even if it is an outdoor game or an indoor game, we are more engaged physically. And when you say that you add some content to it, right? So your cognitive skills, your knowledge, and your physical body, so all the 5 senses and the cognition part is inculcated, is collaborated, and hence the engagement increases, the motivation, the interest increases of the student. And कहीं ना कहीं ये बहुत ज्यादा fun और interactive होता है, तो बच्चे और ज्यादा participate करना चाहते हैं, right? And कहीं ना कहीं it helps to improve your knowledge absorption, because आपको वो game हमेशा याद रहेगी और आप उसे retain कर पाएंगे. You will keep it more in your brain. Even if you forget, you will remember the steps you have taken. So I have prepared a small game which probably we are going to play right now, and then see how it helps and how many of you can actually play this. Okay, so without wasting much time, this is one screen in front of you. Everyone can see this. I request all of you to take a screenshot of this. There are going to be 3. So we are going to play Tambola in short, and everybody is going to be a part of it. Take a screenshot of this screen that you can see. Once it is done, you can give me a thumbs up.
Good, all of you are participating. That's nice. Keep doing that. Maintain the same goal
Wonderful.
throughout.
Okay, so if one is done, take a screenshot of this. This is the second sheet. आप अपने फोन में स्क्रीनशॉट ले सकते हैं, आप स्क्रीन का स्क्रीनशॉट ले सकते हैं, as it is convenient to you, जैसा भी आप खेलना चाहें. And this is the third sheet. So for this Tambola, I just have 3 tickets. I'm sorry, I could not prepare for more. Okay, so I would take Sunita ma'am's help. Ma'am,
Yeah, please tell me.
4 corner और क्या क्या रखना है इस गेम में वो बताओ.
Yeah, you can keep 4 corners if you want. No issues.
Okay, 4 corners.
Asta, can you flash the second one? as well,
Flash the
please?
second, just a second.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
this is the second. Gurdeep, please do not annotate anything. It's going to create issues for the other ones who are taking a screenshot. Okay, so we are keeping 4 corners, full house.
Yes.
And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines.
Deepti is so seriously playing the game. I think she's gonna win the game, huh? Deepti, nice.
Actually, I forgot to. I couldn't. I wasn't involved earlier. I didn't take the first one as well. Screenshot.
That's
No,
okay.
please
I'll come to
continue.
the first one. This is the first one. You can take the print again. You can take the screen
Yeah, yeah.
again.
Okay.
Okay, so similar way, if you have any topic on nursing or any which way, you can create some keywords. So this is basically a keyword that probably includes the procedure. Okay. So इस तरीके से आप keywords बना सकते हैं, and you can play a tambola every day in your department along with students in some class. तो महीने में एक गेम तो हम ये वाली भी खेल सकते हैं बच्चों के साथ. मैं अपने साइकोलॉजी स्टूडेंट्स के साथ कभी-कभी खेलती हूँ. So we play tambola and बस हम यही 3 चीजें करते हैं, 4 corners, full house and 5 lines. तो इसलिए मुझे सिर्फ ये पता है, इसके अलावा और किसी को कुछ इनपुट देना हो तो यू मोर देन वेलकम. So what all you can do is, like, I'll share my experiences of preparing this. If we have a case study, हमारी मेंटल हेल्थ की केस स्टडीज होती है, किसी को डिप्रेशन है, किसी को एंजाइटी है, किसी को किसी और तरह का कोई मेंटल हेल्थ इशू है. जब हमें वो इशू मिलता है, हमारे सामने एक केस स्टडी आती है, सो हमारे पास एक हायरार्की ऑफ सिम्टम्स होते हैं कि ये सिम्टम इस तरीके से हुआ, उसके बाद पेरेंट्स का क्या इन्वॉल्वमेंट था या को केयर गिवर्स का क्या इन्वॉल्वमेंट था. सो वी take note of every sequence, and hence we prepare such a sheet जहां पर हम स्लीपलेसनेस लिख देंगे एक जगह पे लिख देंगे लो एपेटाइट, एक जगह पे लिख देंगे लो मूड, एक जगह पे लिख देंगे इरिटेबिलिटी, एंड देन वी हैव दैट लिस्ट विद अस, एंड देन हम उससे कैंसिलेशन करवाते हैं, लाइक विद बोला. सो आप अपनी केस स्टडीज, अपनी केस हिस्ट्रीज, केस परफॉर्मर्स के बेसिस पे बना सकते हैं इस गेम को. आप डिफरेंट ऑप्शंस पिकअप कर सकते हैं टू प्रिपेयर जस्ट दिस सिंगल गेम. Okay, good enough? Are you all with me? Cool. So this is the first sheet. I hope everyone has it. Doesn't matter what is there on the screen. Listen to me very carefully. I am the one who's playing the game. You are all the ones who are cancelling in your systems, in your phones, or if you have a printout or whatever possible. जिसका जो भी पहले हो जाए वो प्लीज बज कर दे चैट में, या बज कर दिया थम्स अप दिखा दे स्क्रीन पे. ओके, एम आई अंडरस्टैंडेबल, क्लियर? सो आई एम गोइंग टू स्पीक, मतलब जो तंबोला में नंबर्स खेलते हैं, आई एम द वन हु इज गोइंग टू स्पीक द वर्ड्स. You have to look for those words in any one screenshot that you select out of the 3. You have to select one screenshot out of the 3. Okay? तीनों में से कोई एक स्क्रीनशॉट को आप अपना अभी का टिकट प्राइस बना लो. Focus on that one. I'm going to speak words. I'm going to speak one word once only, so be very focused and concentrate. Repeating, 4 corners, full house and 5 lines. So जिसकी पहले कोई भी लाइन हो जाए वो बता दे, जिसका पहले कोई भी कॉर्नर, चारों कॉर्नर्स पूरे हो जाए वो बता दे, and then last is full house. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. 3 or more visitors in a room. Admission. Ambulated patient. Assisted patient BSc. Called an MD. Changed a dressing. Code status changed. Did bedside report. Did a FS. Did vital signs. Gave blood. Gave chemo. Gave SQ Levonox and heparin. Gave pain medicines. Have central line patients. Have post-operative patients. किसी का कुछ भी नहीं हुआ अभी तक? Have patients in isolation.
Did you say admission? If you did, I'm done.
Admission was the second word, Deepti ma'am.
Yes, it's done. It's, I think, second ticket, second last line.
Second last line. Okay, wonderful. Can you repeat?
Admission, 3 or more visitors in a room, change the dressing, did bedside report, and gave chemo.
Ah, wonderful.
See, I told you na that she's going to win today. So
This is exactly called dedication.
yeah.
But I
And
came here to teach teachers, and I'm a student. From
that's what the beauty of playing a game.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the beauty.
My first line done, ma'am. I'm done with first line.
Okay. May I know your good name?
Simpi Reheja.
Yes, Simpy ma'am.
So
Bataiye.
gave SQ, gave blood, 3 more visitor, have a central line, and have a patient in isolation. Is it?
Oh, yes. Nice.
Thank you.
Good, good, good. So prizes आपको सुनीता मैम देंगी. मैं सिर्फ गेम खिलाने के लिए हूँ.
Done.
Okay, so continuing. Have a central line patient is done. Have post-operative patient. Have patient in isolation. Helped another RN and CNA. Hooked up SCDs. Hung IVPB. IV won't stop bleeding. Lost my brain. Performed neuro checks. Patient transfer in out. Responded to bed alarm. Started new IV. I think the audience is not speaking. I'm just left with 2 more words. दीप्ति मैम कुछ तो और हो जाना चाहिए था अभी तक.
हाँ हो गया. I thought I already got it. I know it's a third column in second ticket.
अच्छी बात है, आपको 2 चॉकलेट्स मिलेंगी. नहीं तो एटलीस्ट आपको 2 सर्टिफिकेट्स मिलेंगे, एक जीतने का और एक प्रेजेंटेशन का.
No, I saw 2 more done, but then I thought maybe others are completing further.
Okay, Supreet
Wonderful.
and okay. So Professor Archana. Professor Archana.
The participants are not able to unmute themselves. Asta.
Okay, so
that was
Professor
what the
Archana, आपकी कौन सी line हो गई वो बता दो.
You can write it down now.
Yeah, Professor Archana, you can just write it down. Supreet, you can also write it down. Supreet has done second line. Okay. Okay, so we're done with fourth line also. Swapna has done fourth
Okay.
line. Perfect. Last two left. Let's continue. Just two more words. Took lunch and break. And was a consignor.
I think my 4 corners are done. I'm done with 4 corners. So took a lunch break, then was a co-signer, then admission, and Ivy won't stop bleeding, ma'am. Is it done?
Yes. Now that everything is done, ma'am.
I'm
So my
also
4
done with
corners done.
Okay, wonderful. 4 corners. The Simpy ma'am क्यों हुए?
मेरे भी हो गए, हर्षना.
Okay. Good. So the prize
So
part,
master
as I
ceremony is
mentioned.
also playing. Lot of enthusiasm among the participants. Wonderful.
Nice. So congratulations to all of you, the ones who won. So now quickly, जितना interest से आप लोगों ने ये game खेला, उतने ही interest से एक feedback दीजिए as to how did you like it? कैसा लगा इसको खेल के? Was it difficult? Was it simple? Was it easy? Do you think you are able to relate it to your own content? Okay, interesting, cool. You really think it is motivating for students? That's really good. And you think you can plan this for students? Is it tough? Is it easy? Is it average? Definitely. So things like this are not difficult. It's just that जब हम गेम खेल रहे होते हैं हमें यही नहीं पता होता कि हम उसको कंटेंट में कैसे डाल सकते हैं. So that is the entire challenge. So this was just a glimpse of, a hello testing done with all of you to let you know that आप हर गेम को इस तरीके से convert कर सकते हैं. Right? I have 2 more games that we can play right now. And let's see if you enjoyed them as well. Okay, so this is a game that I'm going to explain. More than playing, I'm going to explain because this is probably we can't run here. We can't do this thing, but we can always modify this game as a word relay also. This is a rap relay. Like suppose nursing में आपके पास कभी किसी को first aid चाहिए, चोट लग गई है. Okay, so generally what we do, you can make a team of say 4 people, 5 people who are going to do a relay. Okay, just an example of bandaging, right? छोटी सी चोट है, उस पे बैंडेज करना है, but because उस पूरी टीम में जो ये रिले खेलने वाले हैं, उस पूरी टीम में 4 या 5 लोग हैं, so the team has to decide 5 steps of doing it. Okay, like the same relay that we do, हम बैटन पास करते हैं तो अगला वाला भागता है, right? In a similar fashion, this rap relay is also the same thing. To teach anything which you think is challenging for students, you can pick up that particular aspect. Say bandaging, say admission कराना, say किसी को wheelchair से lift करना है, कोई disabled है, उसको admission room से लेकर emergency तक कैसे लेके जाना है. Anything that has some steps. And it is challenging for students to likewise understand theoretically. So आप उन steps को बांट दो. अगर आपको दिखता है उसमें 8 steps हैं, तो prepare a team of 8 students per team. And then till the first step is done, the baton will not be able to pass to the second student. तो अगर किसी ने पट्टी करनी है, तो पहले एक बच्चा कॉटन उठाएगा, वो दूसरे को कॉटन पास करेगा, उस पे वो डिटॉल लगाएगा दूसरा, और वो पास करेगा। तीसरा उसको वुंड पे रखेगा, चौथा उसकी बैंडेज करेगा। इन अ सिमिलर फैशन यू हैव टू डू दिस रिले एंड सी हाउ क्विक, effective and properly which team has done the first. Are you with me? You got this point? Now this again isn't theoretical, this is very practical. Now जिन्होंने भी yes लिखा है वो इस गेम में फंस गए हैं, वो इस गेम में ऐसे फंस गए हैं that now you have to design this game and write it here in the chat box or discuss by unmuting yourself कि कौन सा ऐसा एलिमेंट आप पिक कर सकते हैं जिसको आप रैप रिले में कन्वर्ट करें. Now you have to tell me this if you have understood this game. What component of nursing or what component of your respective area you can pick up, how you can step it, कितने steps में divide करेंगे और कैसे team बनाएंगे. So I'm giving you 2 minutes to think about it and drop a message in the chat. The ones who can unmute can also share. Okay, so how do you think you can divide hand washing? हाथ तो एक ही का धुलेगा. If you can explain that with steps, Swapna.
First, to include the indication, like we are going to do something, pre-procedure, then
Okay.
go to the basin, perform 5 steps of hand washing, dry your hand, and now you're ready for the next. So pre-procedure, procedure, post-procedure, this step.
So pre-procedure में candidate क्या करेगा?
He or she will look for the indication why hand washing is required. Like, are you going into patient unit? Like the reason why we are doing it. Is it a pre-operative or something? Whatever is the indication, that's what we are
Right.
going to think, because we have to do it logically, any procedure.
Right.
Then you're actually performing it, in which there will be the famous 5 steps that we do for the hand washing. So that
Perfect.
can be part of the game. Rub your hands and at the back and interlaced fingers, your nail beds are washed and the around the thumb circling. And depending on whether it's surgical or medical hand washing, then you finish the procedure. And after that, depending on where you're going for what procedure, your hand should be up in this position, like depending which area you are on. That's the post-procedure thing. And then
Wonderful. Wonderful, Deepti ma'am. Wonderful. You're proving yourself to be a good student. Wonderful. Yes. And Aarti has also mentioned CPR. Yes, of course. In CPR also, it's very challenging to, how much to push, how much pressure is to be given, how to lay the person down, of course. So yes, that also is something you can lay down in steps. So that's again a wonderful example of rap relay. So why I kept it the name as rap relay, because मेरे दिमाग में सिर्फ एक bandaging का concept था जब मैं इसको create कर रही थी. So you can keep the name relay and you can put anything. So you can modify it as per you want, as per your wishes. Any other input from anyone in the audience? Anything that you think can be stepped and you can convert this? If no, then some feedback on this game. How do you think you can design this? Do you think you are able to understand this game? Okay, so Preet has written NG tube feeding. First, identify the patient. Second, tell the patient about the procedure. Wonderful. Third, give proper position and wear gloves. Fourth, open up NG tube. Fifth, apply jelly on the NG tube. Yes, you can open the NG tube, give you can, you know, pass on the baton to the next can apply the gel on NG tube, then the tube can be inserted, then check, of course, and document it. Wonderful. So this entire procedure can be one relay divided into teams, and then we can see which team outperformed with less time and efficiently. So of course, yes, this is wonderful. Okay, Inderpreet has written a question I would like to answer here only. Ma'am, Sunita ma'am, can we take it later or should I answer it here?
No, do it. In fact, I was also about to say that when the student is having a query, then how this gamification is different from simulation or from, you know, role
Yeah,
play.
so gamification ka part hai simulation. So they are gamification is the umbrella term. Uske andar simulation ek technique hai. Role play is मैं पेशेंट बनी हूं, आप डॉक्टर हो, या मेरे को चोट लगी और मैं आपके पास आई हूं. This gamification is basically to help you understand the concepts practically. All these things, simulation, role play, are part and parcel of gamification. The umbrella terms becomes the gamification. किस तरीके से आप गेम करते हो, आप रोल प्ले करोगे, वो भी एक गेम है. हम बच्चों को डॉक्टर सेट के साथ खिलाते हैं, बारबीज के साथ खिलाते हैं. This is gamification. We are teaching how to keep the stethoscope here. We are teaching how to use thermometer. We are teaching the medical stuff to the children. So that is again role play. The child becomes the doctor and role plays it on making the other friend the patient. Right? So these are all overlapping things, but I would say gamification is the umbrella term. Simulation is one major part of it, and role play is a technique used to demonstrate some technique of gamification. So Inderpreet, am I very clear to you? Okay, wonderful. Yes, Aarti, changing the bed linen of unconscious client. Of course, this is again an important aspect जिस पे आप relay कर सकते हैं. You can divide this into teams and further. So how many of you think this is effective and you can use it in your day-to-day teaching? Yes, no, maybe?
Can I say something, Asa?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Actually, I meant to add this line for the Tombola game as well, and for this one also. So just wanted to say, it's very exciting. I'm sure students will be very much interested into this. It's very interactive and it's very good in that way. Only thing is, you know how the line corresponds to, like, for example, the line that I won the prize on admission, 3 more visitors. That should relate to something. Like I was trying to figure out what's the learning out of it. Like if I see admission, 3 more visitors, changed the dressing, did bedside report, gave chemo. But if that line would have been comprehended into something like saw the alarm, responded to the alarm, went to patient, he was bleeding, changed the dressing. So when my line is done, or when my 4 corners are done, say example for 4 corner, ABC of CPR, so airway, breathing. So if it relates to something that student can learn, it would be even more better.
Yes, ma'am. So to this, I would say, if you heard me, this is just a very, very basic introduction that a tambola can also be created from the content. So my entire idea of playing this game was that you are, I mean, the audience, the students probably, because we are going to create this for students, the students are aware of these vocabulary terms at least. If you go to, this is the big, suppose assuming it to be a beginner's level, then you can come to an intermediate level wherein the same tambola can be created to tell anyone a process. So the words can be in a haphazard manner, and what you speak, the 28 words that I listed, could have been in an order. Patient, admission, more than 3 beds required, or something of that sort in a hierarchy. So the patient, the student are actually cancelling the words and looking for ki next kya hona chahiye. That could also be one medium of, playing the tambola. And the last one could, so this requires a lot of planning. The advanced level could be that aapke jo 4 boxes cancel honge, the 4 corners, which would summarize some box, which would summarize some process, or which would summarize some act. That if these 4, that means emergency ka patient nahi hai. या अगर ये 4 कैंसिल हुए मतलब आईसीयू भेजना ही भेजना है. Something of that sort in a hierarchy. So this was just a beginner's thing. We can always modify this as per our competencies, as per our ability, and as per the time available during the teaching hours. Because this requires a lot of time.
Definitely. And the other thing I wanted to say was the relay thing. I know we are using it for the procedure, but the relay word, like, because nursing students are new to the procedures, it's very important to explain to them as well that you cannot give a cotton and another one will do the dressing. It's not a relay in between the people, because there's one person who's going to do the nursing documentation,
Yes.
and there's one person who's going to sign in the nursing record. So even though we are calling it a relay, we at the end of the procedure, we need to make sure we tell it's one man's procedure. It's one
Yes,
person's.
definitely. Thank you so much for that feedback. Thank you so much. That really is a great input in this. Thank you so much. Okay, so wonderful. Shall we proceed to the next game? Yes, no, maybe? Okay, good. Yes. Okay, so the next game is name that personal care item. Quick riddles in front of you. That is going to come on the screen next. Use your chat to answer what objects are those. Okay? Again, जिसने सही आंसर दिया उसको सुनीता मैम प्राइज देंगी. बाकी जिसने गलत दिया उसका कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Good attempt.
Bandage, mask.
Not the ones. You will get the riddles in the next one. The next slides to come will be riddles that you have to unlock, and you have to tell me what is the first riddle saying. So everyone, so again, this I would say this is a beginner thing. आप किसी प्रोसेस को पूछने के लिए भी रिडल फॉर्म में क्रिएट कर सकते हो. आप किसी इंस्ट्रूमेंट के बारे में डिस्कस कर रहे हो तो भी रिडल फॉर्म में क्रिएट कर सकते हो. What happens when we create such riddles or some questioning? It generates the curiosity of the student कि क्या होगा, इस तरीके का क्या हो सकता है. And I am sure creating this riddle won't be difficult, and a lot of things are easily available on net. You can access all those things as well. And particularly to nursing, I could just fetch 5-6 riddles that I could prepare in the given time. So let's see if it works, and let's see if this technique works for everyone. Shall I? Okay, got to go. 1, 2, 3. I cover your hands and keep you clean. Used by nurses, a hygiene machine. Forget the word machine, but then what am I?
Gloves.
Wonderful. Great. So I'm glad to see such an interactive audience. So active on the chats as well. ये सब वो है जो WhatsApp पे 24 घंटे एक्टिव रहते हैं, जिनके thumbs and fingers बहुत quick चलते हैं. Okay, wonderful. Okay, second. A garment that's long and flows helps nurses to do their jobs with ease and pose.
Apron.
Gown, wonderful. Amazing audience. Wonderful. I thought you would take some time because this is my last activity. After that, I'm just answering the questions. Wonderful. Okay, coming to the next. I am wrapped around an injury used by nurses
Dressing,
to stop.
bandage.
Nice.
I think we need to block her rights of, speaking and
No, Deepti ma'am,
video.
you're going to get just one certificate. अगर आप सारे
Yeah.
सारे जीत भी जाओगे तो भी certificate एक ही मिलना है.
Yeah.
I think everyone is participating very well. It's just that I'm
Right.
able to unmute myself.
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
all.
yes,
I
yes.
think
No,
everyone is
I was
responding.
just kidding. Please don't take it seriously. And I'm not going to ban your rights. Don't worry. Yeah. Please continue. I'm loving it. I'm loving the josh of the participants and even the resource persons. Thank you so much.
Great. So the next. I'm not going to read it now. It'll take time to answer. Good answers. Continue. I'm not saying a yes. I'm not saying a no.
Glycerin? I don't know.
No, they're answering it right, actually. So, mota mota, it's dressing. So, dressing could be any of the above mentioned. Yeah. Good, good, good. 2 more to go, guys. जिन्होंने अभी तक आंसर नहीं दिया है. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. Next.
Stretcher.
Yes, Gyan Jyoti also mentioned it right. It's a wheelchair. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Wheelchair, stretcher, good. So the last question of the day from my side, and it is Deepti ma'am. Shh. Nice, wonderful. Interesting. I'm glad see so many of them have participated. मतलब हर एक ने कुछ ना कुछ आंसर तो जरूर दिया है. Wonderful, lovely audience. Okay, so my last question to you, apart from all this, is which of the games out of these 3 you like the best and how practical do you think they are? If you can just respond over the chats. You think the third one, you can prepare riddles on small things and you can have a brainstorming and you can have a ice breaking. You can use this as an ice breaking activity whenever you introduce the students with any concept, probably. Last one में दिमाग ज़्यादा लगा ना इसलिए. Everybody is saying the last one. Nice, an intelligent audience, I must say. Okay, so if it is the last one, then I request from the audience to come up with one riddle at least right now in the chat and ask us one question. Let us see if we can answer or not. One riddle related to the content.
Let it be asked to Deepti because you may not be able to answer. She's already well versed with answering one. Second thing is she's on the field. So it will be directed to her, okay? So you can prepare the questions from the nursing field and then it will be asked
Yes,
to Deepti.
the questions will be from nursing and the answers will be given by Deepti ma'am.
Why me?
Because you are the target now.
There are no negative points, Deepti, don't worry. I will give necessary support and help.
Okay, so small amount of this will tell. Acha, I am covered in a plastic and used to give pain, but I am very useful.
Intrakath?
Professor Navina, is the answer right? I am a lifesaver, especially during COVID time.
Mask?
A greenhouse with a red blood and black ghosts. Interesting questions, guys. ये तो अर्चना जी बताना पड़ेगा. A greenhouse with a red blood and a black ghost. Professor Navina ने पूछा है, what is the answer? I am covered with plastic, used to give pain, but I am very useful.
He answered on Intrakath.
Intrakath.
He has answered. So he's saying
Syringe.
it's okay. I mean, Intrakath has also got the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And what about that one? A greenhouse.
Archana ji, we need an answer. A greenhouse with a red blood and black ghost. कौन से भूत है ये हमें नहीं पता. Watermelon. So with this, she actually wishes to convey that इतना ज़्यादा भी content में मत घुस जाओ कि खाना पीना भूल जाओ. You should focus on your own health. You should focus on your own hygiene as well. So eat good, have good amount of fruits in your life. Yes, so wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for being so participative. And probably I could not prepare any other slide than hope you enjoyed playing with me in my presentation, because there was nothing more attentive to listen to, because we have been just playing all this while. So yes, I'm open to any question and anything more that you can ask me and I can answer. Thank you so much, Deepti ma'am, for the wonderful feedbacks. Incorporated.
Thank you, Asta.
Harshana ji, we can have questions if there are any questions. Are there any questions in the chat?
So till now, there are no questions. I think everybody has enjoyed.
Hmm,
They were all busy in playing games.
Yes.
Nobody has any doubts. So
Yeah,
please,
thank you so much,
all the
Asta. It was very well prepared and very well done, as I wanted you to be, taking a very, very interactive session for the audience. You have maintained that. So thank you so much.
Pleasure
And,
is all mine, Sanita ma'am.
yeah.
Thank you.
And see, you have introduced to us the concept of gamification. However, the gamification is more appropriate or pertinent in case of children. But see how you have connected it to the field, our field, and in general, even to the in general to education as such, that is worth appreciating. Okay, and so you have given us a first-hand experience how like this kind of small things we can introduce even in the classroom. So that is one wonderful effort from your side. Thank you so much for giving us the content related to it and making them play such interesting games, active games in which they have participated very, very actively. I would like the audience to work these games in such a way that as mentioned by Deepti madam, that the assessment and evaluation aspect need to be considered. And when you're designing these games for the participants or for your students, you need to see the difficulty level. Like the games for the first year students can be different, second year students can be different, third year student can be different, fourth year student can be different. Then again, it will have variation depending on the type of the subject which you are handling. If it is for fundamental, it is going to be different. It is for specialized subject, it is going to be different. So all the aspects, she has asked some pertinent questions. Deepti madam has asked some pertinent questions related to that, because Asta has taken the gamification concept and how you can introduce. Then further, it is up to your creativity. You have already displayed enormous creativity, and you have sent us some good questions, good riddles. So you're very, very creative. So it is up to you now to use it in such a manner that you're giving a wide variety of opportunities for the students to learn at the same time, play at the same time, learn also accurately, maintaining all the principles of asepsis also. Like she asked for that relay race concept, in which Deepti madam pointed out that you cannot ask one student to take the swab and take the other one to do that. So see, the innocent intention of Asta is just to tell you the concept and to let you understand the concept. Now you have to see that you are maintaining the principles of asepsis, you are maintaining the procedural steps. So you have to divide it in such a way, maybe 3 students you can keep. For the pre-procedure, you can ask somebody to do the relays. So for the next step, set of these steps, and then for the post-procedure steps. So like that, you can do the relay. So you can utilize it, maintaining all the principles in mind. Okay, so thank you so much, Asta. It was very, very interactive, very, very effective session. We all are aware of such things, but the fact or the irony is that we are not using them. So
Very true.
it is a very good, you have acted here as a facilitator. You have acted here as a, a person who has put it right in front of us that, see, this also can be done. This can also be a model of teaching for the students in higher education. So thank you so very much. It was a pleasure, absolutely a pleasure to have you here today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It was a privilege to have this, opportunity. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, and thank you, Deepthi, for giving all your inputs. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful listener and giving all your valuable inputs throughout the session.
Sunita, thanks, Asta.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, Ms. Asta Dhingra, for wonderful, innovative, and interesting session we all have enjoyed. Now I recognize the presence of Ms. Deepthi Sharma, Clinical Project Manager at Cancer Trials, Royal College of Surgeons, Ireland. She has 22 years of experience in healthcare industry, extensive knowledge and 12 years experience in managing multiple clinical trial protocols and trial patients as lead nurse. Experience of working in ICU, respiratory, nephrology, neurology, diabetic and cancer clinical trials, ICU nurse, critical care experience with documented evidence of excellence in emergency management, hospital and clinical administration, human resource management, staff management, drugs and equipment management, and health reporting and record management. Inventory management, and also have proficient computer skills. He has done numerous publications in international journals and indulged with many research studies. So I welcome Ms. Deepthi Sharma. Kindly take hold of mic and speak on trends in usage of technology in education.
Thank you, Harshna. Thank you so much. You new to, I don't use Zoom much, so I'm just wondering, how do I share my screen? Do you have my slides? Or...
We do have your slides. If you want, we'll share it from our end. Don't worry.
I'm just trying to look for the option here
Otherwise,
to share.
you will have a share
Oh,
screen
here
option.
it is. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to click on that and just open your slide and minimize it, and then click on that share.
Okay.
Yeah, it's visible. You can put it on slide mode.
Can you all see my presentation now?
Yes, ma'am, we can see your slides.
Yes.
First of all, my apologies. I was supposed to present this at the inaugural session, and it happened today. So you might not find it very specific to gamification. It's in general about the technology and trends in education as such. Hi to everyone, whoever is in this presentation. I hope next 20-25 minutes will be interesting and enjoyable. I know it won't be as enjoyable as Asta's presentation, but I'll try my best to keep you engaged. I didn't plan for an interactive session in between, but I'm happy to take questions. But feel free if you want to stop me at any slide. Okay, as Harshna has introduced me, I'm a clinical research project manager at Cancer Trials Ireland in RCSI. So today we are going to talk on technology and trends in education. Okay, so to tech or not to tech, that's not a real question. So what I'm saying is we all know technology is important. We all know we have to apply it, but that's not the question, right? Can anybody tell me what's the question then? Why is this FDP organized? Sorry, I can't see the chat with this mode. If you see any response, Sunita.
Don't worry, I will. Yes, I will.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so what I was trying to say is that technology is part of in-learning for students, for whether they are elementary school students or whether they are college students or they are postdocs. And it's very much embedded in our education system. The only thing is we have to see how we can make it more compatible with our curriculum, like College of Nursing, medical schools, and physiotherapy or psychology. So what's the question here is that we need to look at our own learning needs, the learning culture within the education facility, align that need analysis with your business objective, that what the students are supposed to do after internship. Collect and use some data if you have. I know it's a very primitive form of IT is the least applied part in medical sector. And it's not like how it's in engineering. So I don't say that we have a lot of data, and I can say this because I've gone through few systematic review and some research papers. So we might have data once you design these programs, but maybe not now right away. But it's very important to collect the data, see what resources you have, and then do the evaluation. That's what is the question. That's why this FDP is organized, so that we are able to apply the technology. Let's see. I won't go into details of these trends or the types of learning and teaching, because that's what this 4 days program is designed to. You'll know more about blended learning, adaptive learning, and moreover, you all are more expert in this than me, because I'm actually not a lecturer in a college or a teacher, and I do more in research kind of work. So I won't go into detail, but these are just to flash what are the different kind of teaching or learning methods or the trends. Now, I wanted to talk something, I wanted to give you some flavor of what research has been done in the past in about application of this virtual reality, augmented reality, or gamification in education. And I'll discuss few papers with you. But I can't do it. I know your augmented and virtual reality session is planned for today, so I can't talk, sorry, tomorrow. So I can't talk unless I explained it very briefly what it is. So look at the first picture on the left side, virtual reality. Virtual reality is when your whole environment is replaced with a digital environment. You need an eye set to wear for it. For example, if you were watching that Avatar movie recently, Avatar 2, so your whole environment is changed. That's what it looks like. Augmented reality is when a digital object is augmented in your real world. You see the second picture on the right, that alien figure has it looks like there is a sofa in front of him. So that's what is augmented reality. In your real world, you're able to see a digital content. The example will be, I don't know if you've heard about the catching Pikachu with your phone. So you're able to see it. You're able to see an unreal object in your real world. That's called augmented reality. Remember the word augmented. So your own reality is augmented with some object. The third type is mixed reality. Now, this is the most innovative, bit complicated, but very much applicable mixed reality. Because in this, the digital content starts interacting with you. Up till now, you were able to see something unreal in your real world, but it's the mixed reality when this digital content is able to interact with you. For example, you're seeing me now on a screen. It's still a 2D. If you can project me in your classroom, and then I'm able to talk, you're able to ask me question, I'm able to reply. So when the digital content start interacting with you, that's called mixed reality. So these are the three types of realities that are used. Now, this is just a simple example of how this extended reality is combination of all these three: virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. So this is just some application on how that can be used in a clinic or cardiothoracic surgery. But I think because we are doing this for an educational setting, it will be more useful if I explain to you in terms of education how the extended reality can be used. So just bear with me and see if I can play this video. So you see, we selected the gender. You see the digestive system here. We are able to check on the integumentary system or the muscular system and identify a specific organ like lung here. Take the organ out. Look at a specific lobe for more information on it. And then like in the skeletal system, you can divide the cranium, look at the individual bones. You can appreciate the innervation of the nerves, veins, and muscles around it, and look at it at more 3D level. Look at this. You can see through the CTs. It's all, your hand is almost like a CT scan. You can look at every parameter of the brain. This is just a very simple example. All things can be. Was just a 3D organon model to explain anatomy. But this is something which is very much, I know it's not now, but I know in 10 years time, my 6-year-old does 50% of his homework on a CISO app, and it's from the school. It's not that I wish him to do it, but he has to do it that way. My 13-year-old boy, he would do his homework 70% on the Apple iPad. Not that I wish for him for more screen time than he already has, but this is what is required in the curriculum. And there have been research in the past to show that this is beneficial. And why? What are the pros and cons? Let's look at it. So we all know it's efficient because it's faster. Customize it for your requirement.
There was a lag, Deepthi, in between. Can you please repeat yourself for the past 1 second? I think
Sure,
2 seconds we had a lag.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it is fine now.
So I was talking about the pros and cons on this technology use in the education. It's very clear that it is efficient, it is faster, fewer steps. We don't need much paperwork around it. So we can go green with that, be good to the environment. It is effective because it's interactive, because there are fewer chances of error, and you can customize it. You can customize it to first-year student. You can customize it for medical surgical nursing. You can customize it as per your requirement. That's the greatest boon about it, that a teacher with years of experience in that particular curriculum, they're the best person to customize it for their students. It improves, of course, that's why we are doing it. We know that there is definitely an effect on the learning process, and the whole learning process is being redefined by use of this technology. So definitely there is improvement with this. There's a part of self-learning improvement here. That's what we always encourage students to do, and that's what in graduation level courses you expect a student to do. But because your digital online contents or this type of presentations, students are able to replicate that and have the same classroom environment every time when they do their own self-learning. When you have a lecture in the class and you record it and you hear it, it's never the same experience. But if you have that Blackboard app in your pocket and you can look at it 100 times, it's very much creates the same kind of learning environment for a student, and that's why it affects the learning outcome in the end. It's an innovative because there is an application of new technology. There can be new ideas, like we just discussed in Asta's presentation, that how many different ways you can design that tombola to make sure those points are registered in your mind, or how you can modify that relay to make sure that everything happens in a sequence. Now, when we talk about the disadvantages, there are a few. There's a cost involved, and that's something I would say, like it is. But in the long run, you will benefit out of it. But there is a cost involved. There is some amount of reduced imagination. I guess you can change it when you involve your students in designing these programs for their junior ones. You know, like how we have, I think when I was in college at 4th year, now it's not only on the teacher's day, but also on the other days, you were supposed to take lectures, not exactly lectures, maybe small workshops or role play for your first year or second year. Once they're involved in that, they'll be able to understand it more better. So that's something can be done to avoid that reduced imagination. And there are the data protection issues. We know what happened with the cyber attack. So there is a data element and data protection element nationally and internationally that needs to be looked after. But it's not that can't be managed, and it's if you compare the risk to benefit ratio, there is definitely a benefit. There's definitely an advantage to this. Now, because it's research is my area and that's where I work, so I was talking to Smita that I'll go through few papers, look at few systematic review, and see what could be the learning outcome for us. This is systematic review about augmented reality trends in education, and in this 32 published studies were used from 2003 to 2013, and what I understood not only from this but from the other paper was, and also it's documented in the paper, that our current research in on augmented reality when applied to education, it's still in its infancy. And that's how I was explaining earlier, that IT is least applied in medical center, and forget about medical education or nursing education. So it's still in infancy. You can expect a lot of change in coming future. For this paper, the actual research questions were 4, but the main one was, what are the uses, purpose, advantages, limitations, and effectiveness of augmented reality in educational setting? So I'm projecting few results from the paper. So we have, if you see the table on the right side, you can see the augmented reality is mostly applied in the higher education setting. I mean, in the higher education setting, it's in the bachelor's degree. Can anybody guess why in bachelor's? You can see even the master and doctoral level doesn't have much. Why in bachelor's level, this augmented reality would have been used? Can anybody guess a reason? No? Okay, it's because
You can type
yeah.
in the chat boxes, participants, if any response is there, kindly chat.
If you can think from your experience, why is the reason that this technology is only applied more in bachelor's? I know it's a result of paper, but why would this be? I just thought we'll do an introspection on that.
Somebody has answered curiosity for learning among the participants.
Correct.
And
And
the other person, just let me read their responses. We have been getting some responses. The other one is because it is easy to understand. And the other one has answered more attractive to youngsters and to have a good base.
correct.
So these
All
are
the
some of the
answers are
responses.
correct. All the answers are correct. And actually, I'm not the right person to judge that. But what I thought another reason could be that a master's and doctoral level students in medical, nursing, or physiotherapy, in there, they already have their license by that time. So they don't need that practical experience that much when they're doing their master's. But when they're doing their bachelor, they need to understand the anatomy. They need to understand the physiology. And that's why application is most applicable at that time. I mean, augmented reality application. And that's why this FDP is designed in the first place, because it's in the college curriculum that it's required most. And that's what's the result from the paper as well. And the most common purpose were 2. One was explaining the topic to students. So we need this to explain topic well, like we have seen in the last video. It's not possible even, so let me give you an example. As when I was a student, in a nursing student in college, we were shown a lung in cadaver or lung sample in a chloroform. I might have seen, because I'm a short-heighted, I was in front. Maybe a tall girl standing behind might not have been able to see that. The actual nerve innovation, when with the force safe teacher is explaining, it's not easy to understand. And it's the one or twice that we get to see that. And when is the first time you do the procedure? CPR, right away, like after 2-3 years, you're actually doing CPR and you know there is a lung underneath. But imagine if this explanation was through this type of 3D. I knew how the right lung and left lung lobes are, how one bronchus is straight, one bronchus is, how the muscles around it, or in the body, like how the sternocleidomastoid muscle is innervated. It's very easy to understand through this system. So that's why explaining the topic, that's the most common purpose. The second one is augmented information. Now here the word augmented information doesn't mean augmented reality here. Here the word augmented information is what I explained earlier, that student is able to replicate the learning experience exactly as it was earlier. So if they have a Blackboard app and you're using your phone to do the distant lectures, and that Blackboard app is in sorry, I keep saying patients, in student's pocket, then this student is able to look at that anatomy of lung every time, whenever he or she wants. And that's why this information is replicable and much useful for a student than remembering the classroom experience. Because we all know we have pictorial memory. That's why AV8s came in picture. This what enhances our learning. Now, the most important advantage are learning gains and motivation. I think it's quite self-explanatory. We know from our last session how motivated we were to play a game and the learning outcome as such. This is another system It's a systematic mapping review of augmented reality application to support STEM learning. Here, the word STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So not just for the medical part, but there were 45 international peer-reviewed papers from 2010 to 2020. And it is Stylinus, mistake, sorry, I can't pronounce author's name correctly, but these are the true authors and they are people for the credit for this paper. And the research question was the STEM fields in higher education. So how augmented reality was used in these 4 fields. You see these, if you most of you must be aware that when you do a systematic review, there is a process how you filter your papers. So there were 100+ papers. They included the Google Scholar as well. At the end, it was only 45 that they used, but they used a proper quality criteria to filter that. And most of them were peer reviewed. The educational use of augmented reality in higher education setting is predominantly what they found was that it is engineering. So out of 45, 30 were in engineering. That's why I was saying it's very least used in our sector, and that's what we should do. We should use it for nursing students. We should use it for medical students. Most widely used software tools that were used were the desktop app, the mobile devices, the AR wearable equipment, and sensor. You know how we have used mannequins to learn CPR or the simulation, as Asta mentioned. The advanced level could be the wearable equipments as well. But I can explain why this is important. Intravenous IV IV drug medication or the intracath insertion application. These procedures are one where you need actually experience of how it feels when you enter the nerve, when you counter the nerve. Sorry, I'm saying nerve. Sorry, it's a vein. You need a practical experience of it. But if there are AR wearable equipments and you're able to use that simulation in such a way that it's interacting, it is possible to create a real life like experience while students are learning. And then it's not to replace the practical experience, but it will complement their learning through their experience. From pedagogical point of view, the successful application of augmented realities based approach relies on the careful design of educational intervention. And that's what we are going to explore through this FDP program. Now, this is my favorite one. There was a study conducted and this was about improving students' learning outcome through mobile assessment. It's a trend analysis. So mobile learning is a learning strategy with the help of mobile technology to support distant learning and reduce educational boundary. I don't think you know any student who doesn't have a mobile, who don't use a mobile, who's not on the WhatsApp. Forget about the teacher, but even the students, they all have access to it. It's not like when we were in our graduation. It's much different now. So why should we not use a device they already have that app linked with their phones, but in such a way that the class teacher has control over it. Like if there has been assignment given to a student and if they upload it on the mobile, the teacher will be able to see, not the whole journal as such. So that's the aim behind it, to use mobile devices as much as you can. If you're going to take a lecture in the initial, you know how sometimes we introduce a topic with a mind map. What do you think about this? So all that through their mobile, they can answer. Oh, I think about if there's a hand washing procedure, somebody might type hygiene, somebody might type something else. So you get a picture as a teacher that what students understand out there before you present. So your learning becomes adaptive, their learning becomes adaptive learning because teacher know exactly where to start from. And similarly, when you do a Kahoot in the end of your lecture, when you're asking some assessment question to see whether your whatever as per your teaching plan has worked or not, or what's the evaluation, that Kahoot is very easily administered over phone. And while sitting on the student bench, they can reply to your questions and you know exactly where class stands, whether you need another lecture, whether they're ready for the exam, what's the difficult question that most of the students can't answer, should I repeat that part? So that's the use of technology that you can do. This particular study was a quantitative descriptive type of research, and the students were elementary school students. So what we see here is that it's as expected. There's a positive trend towards student learning outcome in the use of mobile assessment in learning activities. And that's the reason that research recommends the application of mobile assessment in learning activities. This is the bibliography. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'll give my email to Sarita and come back to me later after the presentation as well, if you have any queries around it. I hope you like this presentation. I'm sorry it wasn't that interactive as it was for us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Deepti. There are certain questions. I'll just take it. And there is a question from Vimal saying, are we heading towards a more self-learning mode? Because a lot of content developers are required to keep preparing these different apps, software, programs, tools, etc. And there is less chances for the person-to-person variables.
I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly, but you're talking about the self-learning mode for student.
Yeah,
am I correct? Okay.
No, actually this, we have all the teachers here or all the faculties joined with us. So basically this person is asking that, are we heading towards an era where everybody will be learning on their own? The students will be motivated, or they are moving more towards the self-learning mode rather than dependent on the teachers. Because a lot of content is being developed and a lot of softwares are there which are promoting this kind of learning nowadays.
I personally think in the professional college, a BSc nursing or a MBBS, you have to do self-learning. That's something that success of a student in the curriculum depends on. Self-learning is not available. In fact, we are trying to encourage it. We want them to do self-learning. I think you guys had a similar kind of anatomy physiology thick books in your first year, like I had. How many of us were able to have lecture on every page of it? Our teacher wasn't able to explain us everything. It was self-learning that we were dependent on. So I don't think it's a bad thing, even if we are progressing towards student going for self-learning. And when I was talking about augmented information, this was about replicating the classroom lecture for them. But this doesn't mean that they won't learn things around it. You have to do your library study. You have to do the reference check. You have to look for journals. You have to do self-study. And that's why giving assignments and completing assignments is a integral part of education, in at least in the nursing education or the medical education that I know about it. So even if we are progressing towards self-learning, it's a good thing. It's required. It's required for any professional course.
All right, thank you. I hope she has answered the query. There is another question from Mr. Senthil. How to authenticate all this content which is there online, or how to authenticate all this question, the content which is available through all software apps nowadays?
One thing I would say that first of all, this, if you're, I'm not a teacher, but if you are designing this for your student, look at what the books already has. It's more about reinforcing what's the idea in their curriculum, first of all. Secondly, on any online content, like most of you guys are doctors, and like I don't even have a PhD, but what I'm trying to say is you know how to validate it. You know that there are scientific journals that you look at it, and that's how to authenticate. Like once you have a right information, once you're able to give enough credit to the actual author of the paper, there's no problem in using it. Yes, there would be sometimes the licensing required from the author. For example, if there is a paper published and then author has released a questionnaire as part of the appendix, some authors want their permission to be sought, but then that's only to keep a track of it. That's not to discourage it. That's why the paper is published. It's published for the public to look at it. So once you look at the scientific paper, you know what journal, where it has been published. The peer review section will be able to explain you what all different professors have reviewed that content. So that there's no harm in using it then.
All right. Thank you so much. I think you have answered the query aptly. I have this one input, or you can say one clarification to make, like in your slide, this slide related to mobile assessment trend. So there has been a positive trend which has been found out, okay, related to the mobile assessment or the mobile learning. So how do you, can you explain it a bit, like how you have, are you people using in your setup, or is it used in certain setting, and in to what extent, and does not it have many flaws, because using a mobile in a classroom and to what extent it can be allowed, and to what extent it can be actually useful as far
Yeah.
as the student
So
learning is concerned.
what I have, like, as I said, I'm not a teacher, but when I did my master's and I used their mobile app, it was I did my master's from UCD here. So UCD have their own app called Blackboard. The name of the app is called Blackboard. Blackboard access credentials were same as my email credentials or my own account, student account access. So first of all, it's only me who can log in. That's on my mobile. But even if that app is on someone else's mobile, it's only through my personal credentials that can be logged in. So only student will have access to it. That's around the access and security. But in terms of usefulness, this is a study. It shows that learning outcome have improved. But what I can tell from my experience was that if the teacher has posted some new slides and I have a examination paper a month later, going through that slides in the Blackboard app was much more useful than looking at the printed synopsis given to me to study, because I knew nobody can read that 500 pages book. We all do selective learning, but it's through that slides, through that content what teacher has posted on the Blackboard, you're able to comprehend what's required for you. You're able to ask questions directly with your teacher without the class knowing what you're asking. That's another thing. When you do the classroom teaching, some students are conscious. Like I was explaining in the previous session that there were so many other people who were responding correctly. It's just that I could unmute my mic and they couldn't, so they were typing it. So that's what happened in the actual classroom as well. There are students who want to ask questions, then they're not able to. But Blackboard app or these kind of apps on the phone takes that hesitation away, and they're able to have this one-to-one technology with the teacher. So there are many benefits of it, and I think when they are 18 plus, they are responsible enough to use any gadget or application responsibly. That's what we are teaching them. After a few years, they'll be dealing with the humans. So if we can trust them with humans, we have to trust these students that they'll be using their mobile device correctly. And if they don't, it's the same as they don't study in the class. It's very similar to that. So I think, and moreover, they're so much used to of it nowadays in the current generation, they're so much used to of it that a sensible student has an idea how to use it and how loudly to use it.
Yeah, so do you feel that this all technology assisted use of devices, or this augmented usage, I mean, this augmented reality or this simulation or this gamification is a complete replacement to the physical presence of a
No,
teacher, or the way we,
no,
in the traditional which we have got
definitely,
education?
definitely not. It's just a complement, that too, to the theoretical part. We cannot take the practical out. That's where like, for example, if I have to conduct a labor after completing, if I am going to be a midwife after completing my final year, I have to do the 20 deliveries myself, like whatever is in the curriculum for that student nurse. That practical experience cannot be taken away. That's required for your license, that's required for your experience. But I can say that split-second decision-making power that come to any professional can very well be improved if they have done so much of learning through these devices in the past, because a lot of fear around the procedure is taken away. If you've done through simulation, like Asta was explaining, a delivery, if you have conducted it through a simulator few times, 5-6 times during a class practical, then we are doing your first delivery in a labor room, you're more confident about it. I know nothing can replace the actual experience, but you're more confident about it. You've done those steps so many times, body mechanics to conduct a labor and stuff so many times practically, that fear takes away, and it improves your proficiency in that way.
All right, thank you. And have you come across any studies which are showing this kind of comparison, that this technology-based teaching modes are better, or, I mean, of course, they are better or they are a supplement, but is there a comparison or a satisfaction level from the learner's side, or there is some dissatisfaction towards too much usage of the technology? Like that kind of studies have you come across when you were doing this trend analysis?
So my search wasn't like the search words in the search engine weren't about the dissatisfaction, but I'm sure if I do that, I'll find papers on that as well. So as I said, there are pros and cons. If I spoke about the data protection, you'll find hundreds of papers that will say that what data protection is being affected and what's the, I know it's not, GDPR is not in India, but GDPR is very much applicable here in Europe, EMEA and UK. And I know there are so many issues. So my search wasn't about the satisfaction level as such, but I'm sure there must be papers around it. Sorry, I'm not sure of the correct answer to that.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Any other questions from the audience side? Anything, Harshna ji? Any questions are there?
No, not yet.
Not yet, no? Right. Okay. So thank you so much, Deepti. It was a indeed extensive topic taken from your end towards the, whatever the trend analysis which was asked to be given. So there has been a trend which has been increasing, but of course, as you mentioned, that it is still in its infancy stage as far as the augmented reality is concerned. But yes, they are still using it a lot in the outside setting, and we need to incorporate. India also needs to incorporate in all the sectors, and that is why we have, with that idea only, we have also taken the step of organizing this FTV. So
from my research experience, I can say that I would advise to have a small pilot project done first to see what effects it creates in the student learning outcome before applying it as such overall. Just to see whether it's workable or not. What learning outcome difference does it make? That might be more useful instead of spending a lot of resources on it right from the beginning.
All right. Yeah. So
thank you, Sunita.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Deepti. It was a wonderful session.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here. Bye.
To all the participants, we are going to share the feedback link. Kindly fill it. It is mandatory. So thank you, Ms. Dipti, for this educational session. We really enjoyed it. And just wait for 2 minutes and the feedback link will be shared.
Yeah, if there are no more questions, then there are no more questions, right? If anybody is having still any question from the session, can please put up in the chat box.
Sorry, Sunita, I have to go.
Yeah, that's why I was just asking if there are no questions, then we can let the resource person log out from the meeting. Yeah, we don't see any further questions, Deepti. So yeah, please, thank you so much. It was a lovely session. It was lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Feedback link is already shared. Please fill it. And thank you all. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow with new topics at same time, 2 p.m. Till then, take care and God bless you all.
Thank you, Ashna ji. So today we have winded up early. You can tell the concerned IT person.
We'll wait for 5 more minutes so that everybody will.
Everyone can fill the feedback link and then we can wind up the session. Yes.